Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, welcome. Bye.
Okay. Once again, good morning, all of you.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning,
ma'am.
Just a
Good morning,
second.
ma'am.
One minute. I'll just open this. Now we have Dr. Rupsha here. She is, we can say, our alumni also. She was the first batch of our journey. 2012, she joined with us. She has a 14 years experience of corporate, and after that she has 14 years she was associated with ICFI for many years, and she did her PhD in 2017 completed. Now over to Rupsha ma'am. She will introduce herself now.
Thank you, Rumna ma'am. Can you just unmute? I think my camera video is off.
No, you.
Okay.
Got it?
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much. Very good. Good morning to all of you. What do I say? I think I'll say it would be doc gives a big edge and a big motivation as well as a big boost. So you are going to be doctors of tomorrow, in fact, in your specialization areas. So here I am. I'm supposed to share my journey of my PhD along with all of you. So to share the journey, I'll be starting with my presentation. Just a minute, I'll just share my screen. Just a minute.
Are you able to share?
I'm just a minute. I'll be sharing. Yes. I hope my screen is visible to all of you.
Yes.
Yes.
But make it slideshow.
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll just do that. Okay. So after the 3-day coursework that you all are now in, and in fact, after today's morning, Dr. Shudipto's presentation, I believe you all are just like the person in this picture. Am I right? Yes or no? Can I have some answers? Anybody of you?
Yes,
exactly.
Yes,
ma'am.
Absolutely.
I believe all of you are very much in this particular scenario, right? Even I was so when I started my journey of PhD. So as I go by, before I actually speak about myself, my introduction is very, very small, you can say, because I just completed my PhD in 2017. So far, 3 years I've completed for my doctorate program. And before to that, I was actually associated with a lot of industries in the position of HR manager, in the position of technical manager, and in the position even as a programmer sometime. So I had a lot of work or spend a lot of time in the corporate. And I think many of you are already in the corporate. After that, I have migrated to academics, and since then I've been associated with academics. Currently, I'm associated with Amity University. My first academic assignment was basically in IC5. So naturally, I will say IC5 has actually handholded me and took me through the journey of my academics. So before I proceed forward, I cannot forget to mention few of the names who played a very important role in my PhD completion. So the first and foremost is our VC, Professor O.R.S. Rao. My special thanks to him because he was a constant motivational and as well as instrumental in my completion of my PhD. My guide, who was Dr. Vijaya Ganguly, helped me a lot. I have got a lot of help from my co-guide, Dr. Shomendranath Bhakti, because in those days, we had this concept of guide and co-guide. So I had a co-guide, Dr. Shomendranath Bhakti, who is actually Associate Professor of XLRI. And I basically learned to do research or learned to understand research through him. And I cannot forget Dr. Rumna Bhattacharya, who has been a constant friend and philosopher in basically motivating to do my PhD. Of course, the IUJ staff and the faculty members. And finally, of course, my parents, friends, and colleagues. So my heartfelt thanks to all of them because they have played a very important role in my PhD completion. Now, before we proceed, I just want to start with the quote. If you want something in your life you have never had, you will have to do something you have never done. So this is one thing which we are doing from our PhD. We basically are learning to do research, and naturally, this is something we have to move forward to. Now, coming to this PhD, what is PhD? You all are doing PhD. So what is PhD? A PhD is the highest title you can obtain in academia, which qualifies you to become a university professor in your subject areas, as well as you can do certain research specialty. You can be certain research specialists or researchers who are interested in continuously contributing your knowledge in a specialized area. Now, there might be questions why anyone should do PhD. You're recognized as an expert in your field. You possess superior theoretical and applied knowledge to your subject. You also develop a set of transferable skills such as problem solving, critical reasoning, and in-depth analysis from diverse angles and perspectives. So that's the reason why normally people are doing research. Probably one of these could be your reasons for doing PhD also. Now coming to why I studied PhD. I basically was very much interested in PhD. I had the interest and ambition. Doing research is really enjoyable, though it's very challenging, but you know, all challenging tasks are quite. Hello? Am I not audible?
We could not hear the last. Yeah, now it
Am I
is okay.
audible
We could
now?
not hear the last two lines.
Okay. This is the reason why I studied PhD. I was just continuing with the slide. Is it okay, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am, it's okay.
Okay, okay, thank you, thank you. So basically, I had an interest and also an ambition to do something higher, and that's the reason why I studied PhD. Probably this could be one of your reasons also. Research is not only enjoyable, but it is also challenging. In fact, whenever we do certain challenging jobs, we enjoy it. And when we finish that job, when we complete that job, we get a sense of achievement. And so is so the reason of doing PhD. Also, excited about sharing knowledge with peers, professors, mentors, and others. So this is a sort, if you have a PhD, you are considered in level where you can discuss a lot of issues with professors, mentors, and others regarding your interest in particular subject areas, in particular concepts, whatever it might be. Getting the title of a doctor, yes. So today we can call ourselves, like when Rumna ma'am was telling me, Dr. Rupsha, I was feeling so great about it. So it's a sort of, you can feel a self-actualization concept that we speak normally. Now, enhancing skills and for better option in the path of career development. So these are the reasons why I have done PhD. Now there are benefits in the personal front also if you do a PhD. You may find that you feel more confident and have greater self-belief. That means once you have attained this PhD degree, then you will find there's a huge transformation among yourself. What you were before your pre-PhD position and what you are after your PhD, there's a complete transformation. Say from this position to that, you start feeling very confident, you start feeling more and more matured, you are more and more structured, your thought process helps you in analyzing each and every aspect, and then only you start taking decisions. So that's a very, very important benefit that we normally achieve after doing our PhD. You're mentally mature through receiving challenge and criticism for your peers and supervisors. So that's what I was also speaking about, the mental maturity. You will also learn that any failure is a step closer to success. So while the whole journey of your PhD, you will be coming across a lot of failures, a lot of frustrations, and you need to overcome them. And once you do this, you will learn to overcome any sort of failure, any sort of frustration, be it whether in your professional life or in your personal life. So that will naturally help you in overcoming all those aspects. Now, coming to the learning, I will say in short, which I say it is a mantra for all PhD scholars, that is, to really achieve success in PhD, you have to have the 3 P's. P for persistence, P for perseverance, and P for patience. My dear scholars, this is very, very important, and it's a great learning I have learned from my PhD journey, that you need to persist, you need to persevere, at the same time, you need to be very much patient. So these skills are very much required for you to be successful in achieving the PhD degree. And further, these 3 P's and the skills like time management and organizational skills can be utilized not only in your workplace, but also in everyday life. So any comments on my 3P? Do you agree with it, or will you be agreeing after your journey? The 3Ps. Yes? Anybody?
Agreeing with it already.
We
have
agree,
started
ma'am.
so many things.
We have already
Because
started realizing it.
you already
Yeah.
started realizing it. Right. Patience is very, very important, my dear scholars, because this is something which will keep you balanced with the current scenario as well as your current status of your PhD course and everything. So patient, be patient. And I think someone said that if you are patient, you get great results. You get a lot of awards, you get a lot of rewards. So better be patient. So this is one of my mantra that I normally follow. I have learned it from my PhD journey, and this is the thing which I really want to share with all of you. Now, how to get a PhD? That we all have thought of it, especially when the basic thought of PhD has come into our mind. That I want to do PhD. Now, the first questions that comes in my mind are, I have to choose an university, I have to search a guide, I have to choose the topic, and I have to schedule the activities for completion. Very simple question. But these simple questions have a lot of complications within it. So here, first thing, when we go for choosing the university, we need to understand which university we need to choose from where we need to do our PhD. The first thing is, it should be a recognized university, that people should be really appreciating that university, recognizing it. So that university is very, very important. Second, university should help in allotting a guide for you. Since I have actually migrated from, let us say, corporate to academics, and while working, I was doing my PhD, and also I have migrated from South India to West Bengal. So I was really not aware of any academic resource persons who could actually be a guide. So I was in fact hesitating to do PhD because I heard from everybody guide plays a very important role in our PhD. And I was thinking, I don't know anybody, how do I get a guide? So that's one of the important aspects. The third thing, which is very, very relevant even for our UGC as well as for any logical reasoning also, there should be a proper coursework on the relevant, which is relevant to research. I have come across syllabuses of many universities regarding the coursework. Many places I found it, it's not, many of the topics are not actually, because I want to do, let us say I want to do my PhD in HR specialization. Then if I am asked to do only all these statistical, use all these statistical tools, and if I'm more focused into all the statistical tools and everything, I start feeling very much frustrated that my HR PhD, how will I be using so many, why should I be using so many statistical tools and all these things? So whether it will be really useful or not, all these kind of aspects keep coming into the mind. And sometimes we get so very distracted with the contents of the courseware that we lose our focus. So that's one of the important aspects. Course structure helping to overcome procrastination behavior. Now, this is one of the important things, especially for us who are doing PhD in a part-time mode. Basically, we have our own jobs and we are doing PhD as a part-time aspect. So here we have two things that we need to balance. In fact, three dimensions that we need to balance. One is a job. One is our own PhD, that is for our self-development. And the third dimension is our personal life. Now, when this three triangle, you know, these three vertices are quite far apart from each other. But we tend to give our priorities, as a result of which most of the time we prioritize on our jobs, because that is an immediate thing that is required, and that is actually financing our PhD also. So as a result of it, if job is not there, then other things become immaterial. So here job is more the focus. And then what we tend to do is we keep on procrastinating our activities of our PhD course program. And this becomes a very dangerous aspect. How? I'll be coming to that later. Now, continuous support in matters of guidance, materials, suggestions, and publication. That's also very important for any of the universities to give this. And so that is also another aspect that you need to follow. That these are the criteria to choose the university. Now, I have chosen ICFI University, Jharkhand for these reasons. Reason one, it was recognized under UGC and quite popular as such. Second, I didn't have the problem of selecting a guide because ICFI University has only found out a guide for me. They have chosen my guide. So here, I had that problem of searching a guide, having wavelengths matching with the guide. All these things have been resolved just because I already got a guide. Now it is for me to communicate with the guide and get my things cleared, get the concepts cleared, and also build a bridge, build a very common platform so where my guide and myself can communicate quite comfortably, and also to see to match either my wavelength with the guide or convincing the guide to understand my concept. So all these problems got sorted out because ICFI University had this option. The coursework is very, very relevant because you have already seen in your previous presentation, Shudipta was already going through the whole of research methodology. So this gives you a fair idea how the researchers go about, how the PhD goes about. So that research methodology, now you will start getting questions. Okay, so these are the steps that we need to follow. Then if I want to do this, how do I do this? If I want to do this, how do I do this? If I want to find a sample or choose a sample size, how do I choose a sample? You at least are aware. So these concepts are there. How do I do that? You can learn it from the respective resource persons. So that's very much there. Half-yearly reviews help in overcoming procrastination. In our time, and I think even now, this thing is followed by ICFI University very, very strictly and very, very categorically that every 3 months or every 6 months, whichever it is possible, there are review meetings. And in those review meetings, we are supposed to discuss about what was our topic or what was our objective, what position are we, what was my time schedule, am I abiding with the time schedule, am I going back, am I facing problems? If I'm facing problems, then I need to solve those problems. If my path is right, that is being reviewed in the review meetings, and there are resource people who tell us this is the right path, this is not the right path, you will have problem going through this direction, you can move you through this direction, which is just like someone was asking, where do we get those standard scales? So Dr. Shudipta has already shared it. These are the places where you can get the standard scale, or you can search for a standard scale, all these aspects. So once you know, and once you are in the job, you can keep on correcting yourself. The other thing, publication. That's another very important thing in PhD, and now it has become mandatory even for UGC that you need to make publications before you actually submit you actually go for the final submission. So again, here we have IUJ journals where your initial publications, you can go about it. Once you start learning to publish your articles, once you start getting the habit of writing articles, then you can keep on searching for those peer review thing, which takes nearly 6 months time to publish one article. So that is there. And also the all-round support and assistance in research, because while doing research, you will be requiring a lot of am I audible? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you.
A quick question, if I may ask, regarding
Sure,
the
sure,
publication.
sure.
Yeah, regarding the publication, as you
Yes,
mentioned,
yes.
it takes 6 months for peer review. Could you please throw more light on that?
Yeah, peer reviewed. See, there are certain journals, basically Scopus Index journals. There are a few of the journals where once you send the articles, those articles are sent to the specialist on that particular fields. They review your article, they give you the feedback, and the feedback is again transferred to you, and you are supposed to make modifications or rectifications in your article, and only then when you send this article gets published. So this whole process takes minimum of 6 months for actually your completion of the article as well as publishing of the article. Is it clear?
Yes, yes, very much.
Okay, thank you. So that was the reason why I have chosen ICFA University, Jharkhand, because I was getting all this from whatever research I have done. And at that time in 2012, when actually there was, I was also into the ICFA organization, but I have actually migrated from ICFA organization to some other organization. So when I was actually doing the PhD, since ICFI was one of my earlier organizations and I knew the process, how ICFI follows, so I have actually felt confident that I'll be registering at ICFA University, Jharkhand. In fact, I tried some other universities earlier also, but there are so many problems that I faced in those universities. And these problems got sorted out in ICFA University. That's the reason why I have chosen ICFA University. So that was one of the reasons.
Madam,
Yes.
Madam, one small question regarding your publication.
Right.
I just want to get a clarity on the difference between an article and scholarly article and a research article.
Okay. Scholarly article is the one that while doing your PhD, you will be doing a lot of articles like literature review or conceptual knowledge and thing where you are not actually doing the research. Okay. Maybe you're going through few of the literatures. Yes. And then you are not only, that means you are defining on a concept. You're defining on a concept, or you're identifying a framework, that conceptual framework, that example which Dr. Shudipto has already shared with you. So you have a conceptual framework and you have developed this conceptual framework based on a lot of literature reviews. So now you will be testing the framework with your data collection and as well as your analysis, data analysis. So before doing that, to actually promote your concept, you need to promote your concept into the, let us say, the academic world, because people should be knowing these are the areas which you have already worked on and this is the position which you have already achieved. So this thing you have to keep on promoting into the academic world, because otherwise what happens, somebody else will be coming first with that concept and your concept will be considered as, oh, this is already known, so this is nothing new about it. So in scholarly articles, normally you will, as an on, you will be developing through your PhD course, like narrowing down to your conceptual framework, narrowing down to your methodology, narrowing down to your data collection tools, narrowing down to your possible data analysis. You will be publishing your articles according to that. A study or a pilot study you will be publishing. Those things are with the association with one of the doctorate, that is one of your guide, or maybe someone who is much senior in position in academy. With association, you publish those articles. Those comes under basically the scholarly. Now, when you say research, now you are actually doing the research. You're collecting the data, you're analyzing the data, and you're coming with the findings which are completely new to the academy. And that comes your basically the research articles, where you normally have to follow certain numerical concepts. You need to have certain proper statistical tools, or you can also go by theoretical concepts like grounded theory, context analysis, and all these things, and you develop the article, and that becomes your research article. Am I clear?
Yes, yes, understood.
Okay.
Thank you.
So
Thank
now
you, ma'am.
So now let's proceed with the first thing, the problem, first problem. Okay, guide is there. University has been selected. I have got admitted. My admission is confirmed. My coursework is going on. I am learning what research is. I'm learning the research methodologies. I'm learning the basic analysis tools. I'm learning the types of research. All those things I'm learning. Now the time has come when I have to decide on my topic. It's a very big decision because you have to be moving through with this topic, and this topic is your, let us say, a what you call the card which is going to take you all your life, because you get married to that topic, you get attached to that topic, and you cannot leave that topic. The topic will always be with you. Coming to my topic, in this particular connection, I want to say my topic, I initially had the plan that I want to do PhD in HR because HR is my specialization area. Now I was thinking so many concepts that are there in HR. Now I was thinking which area should I focus more for my PhD. Now from the guide or from the literature reviews, I came so many particular areas. And some things were very, very common. Yeah, some things were very abnormal. So many other concepts were there. So what I have decided is I want to do something unique, something different, something new. And with this, I had a lot of discussion with my guide and co-guide as to what is the new thing that I want to do. So before deciding on the topic, you have to actually answer these 11 questions. First, can you enthusiastically pursue it? Can you sustain your interest while pursuing? That's more important. So you might have a lot of enthusiasm to choose a topic, but as you go on, you find, oh, this topic, this person has already done this, something on this topic, this person. So something you'll be losing your interest into it. So that's very important. You have to have interest. So can you sustain your interest while pursuing it? Is the problem solvable? Can you solve this problem? Or you don't know whether you'll be able to solve it or not. That's very important, because if you take a topic where you cannot solve it, then you will never complete your PhD. So that's a very big issue. You have to find whether it can be solved or not. Is it worth pursuing? I mean, do you feel there's going to have some credibility in the academia world if you are really doing some research on that topic? So that's there. Will it lead to other research problems? As Dr. Shudipta also shared with you, that your research should enable others to do research also from your topic. So that is what it is very important. Is it manageable in size? That's a big question. What is the potential for making an original contribution to the literature in the field? That means what you have done, that should be cited by other researchers or future researchers. So that's very much important. Will the scholars in your field receive the results well if you solve the problem? So that's another important aspect. Are you or will you become competent to solve it? So you need to have a level of competency to solve your research problem. By solving it, will you have demonstrated the independent skills in your discipline? As I said, HR. So in HR discipline, you have to basically demonstrate the independent skills. Will the necessary research prepare you in the area of demand or promise for the future? So again, that's the thing. So now coming back to my topic. My topic was analysis of coping strategies on the face of occupational hazards. Now, my question to all of you, what do you understand by this topic? Analysis of coping strategies on the face of occupational hazards. Yes, any one of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
What
Tell
I
me.
understand, this is Raja here.
Yes, yes,
Yes,
Raja. Tell me.
what I understand from your topic is that in any in any profession,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
typical to that profession, we have a set of professional hazards, or I would not say hazards. I would use the word challenges more
Okay.
in place of hazards. We have
Okay.
professional challenges typical to that profession's environment, and
Okay.
to cope up with or to fight with those hazards, we use
Yes.
a lot of strategies or a lot of techniques to come out of that stress levels or those hazards. So you
Right.
as a scholar analyzed in details what are the
Right.
coping strategies to come out of those challenges and to fight with those hazards.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you.
Dr.
Thank you,
Roy,
Raja. It was a
Dr.
perfect.
Roy,
Yes.
Dr. Roy, this is Simi here. I think there are
Yes,
two
Simi.
aspects of there are two aspects of the study here. According
Uh-huh.
to me, I completely agree with Mr. Ghosh that
Uh-huh.
every occupation has its hazards slash challenges. And to
Right.
cope with those, there are two aspects of it. One is the personal strategy as an employee within the organization, my
Exactly.
psychological parameters, my personal conditions, all of that play a role in building my own strategy in coping with this hazard. And the other part is around the organizational aspect. The
Right.
organization's stance in building up a strategy to support the individuals in
Right.
dealing with those hazards. I think your
Right.
study would have encompassed both this perspectives, if you
Okay.
like.
Okay. Okay. We'll go into that. We'll go into. Thank you. Thank you, both of you.
Ma'am,
Quite well understood. Yes.
ma'am, from my perspective, what I feel that when we are talking about occupational hazards,
Uh-huh.
it is purely related to the employees' security and safety within the organization.
Okay.
Probably
Okay.
not towards the psychological or mental side of it, but towards more
Okay.
into the safety and security of the employees in the organization. Now, the
Okay.
second part of the topic, which says that coping with this, I feel that sustaining every organization tries to uh, eradicate and or remove the occupational hazards mechanism, which
Okay.
may occur. So now sustaining that and thinking that how this can be improved probably could be like your area of research, I think.
Yes. Okay. Now the second
Also,
question I want.
ma'am,
Yeah.
ma'am,
Yeah.
if I can add, the
Yes.
way we used to see occupational hazards maybe 10 years back and the way we see it now, the world has changed.
Mhm.
For example,
Okay.
the use of technology,
Right.
the excessive use of technology, sometimes in forms of WhatsApp or mails. Earlier nobody thought that at 12 o'clock also a corporate discussion will be going on in WhatsApp. So now
Perfect.
if I come
Perfect.
even to the academic halls or to the corporates, these are the
Uh-huh.
occupational hazards, and the work-life balance is getting hampered. So maybe that can also be one of the aspects in
Wonderful.
this study.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you very much. Yes. I
Yeah.
was testing that how much my topic actually is touching you. That was the reason. This is one of my research also. Because once a researcher continues to be a researcher. Okay, once you get the habit of researching, you will find yourself researching becomes develops into a habit into yourself. It's not that I've done PhD, finished my research, now I can close everything, now I can go to sleep. No more researches now. Nothing like that. So this was one of my tests also. Now tell me, understanding this being the topic, what will be my population? What
Okay,
will be my
so
It
hi,
depends on
yeah.
the industry
Yes,
which you are
ma'am,
choosing.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yes.
basically, we no, I mean, yeah, we have to take the across the industry means the old kind of brick and mortar kind of industry like manufacturing to the latest ITES kind
Right.
of industry.
Ma'am,
So we have to have a
Yes.
samples
So
around.
is this population manageable?
No, you have to take a sample size from them which is manageable, because that's too huge.
Yes. So this is
Even
the
from
first
a
problem. So this
Population
is the first problem. This was the first problem for a topic, right? So we have to see the population and can I take a sample out of it? Manageable sample out of it. So
You have
one
to
of you have
frame you have to frame the you have to come out of a fix a population frame out of the major population frame.
Exactly. Perfectly right. Perfectly right. So we have to fix a population frame. Now, for this, I decided I will be taking the service industry. So now I will extend my topic, analysis of coping strategies on the face of occupational hazard in service industry. Is the topic okay now?
Yes.
Still it's too vast because service industry consists of so
Still
many
quite
industries.
manageable.
Yes, service industry speaks about hospitality, education. You have even the consumer durables also have a service
Absolutely.
sector. So even that comes
Yes,
under
yes.
that.
Retail, hospitality,
Yes, it speaks
restaurants.
about
Banking as well. Banking.
education. It speaks a lot of services. Even insurance sector is a service industry,
Right.
right?
Dr.
So
Roy, I have got.
again, yes.
Dr. Roy, in this, can others go on mute, please? Dr. Roy, in terms of the population and the sampling that the discussion was
Right.
going on, I've got one question. In
Uh-huh.
your scenario, when you're
Right.
saying ITS industry or service industry, and then in
Right.
service industry has got several segregation,
Right.
how people working in TCS BPO or Infosys BPO
Yes.
vis-a-vis somebody working in some other BPO. My
Right.
question is, when I decide on that sampling frame, yeah,
Uh-huh.
how do I say that my sample is a representative of the true population? Yeah.
Exactly.
So am I saying
Exactly.
that I will go to a few people in Infi, few people in TCS, few people in HP, and then kind of collect my sample? Because I have to also ensure that I have surfaced every corner of the population. So what
Okay.
challenges did you face, or what as a researcher
Right.
did you take?
Yes,
That's my
I'm
question.
coming to that. That's why I'm coming to that. Okay. So the thing is, now I have said that analysis of coping strategies on the face of occupational hazard in service sector. Now, as you all said, this frame is also not a manageable population frame because we have a lot of dimensions of service industries, lot of variations in service industries, and even the servicing is different in different aspects. Like you see in hospital, the services are different. Education services are different. ITS services are different. So now again the question comes, I cannot generalize any of these things into any of these three-dimensional, even insurance sector, that is a service industry, and those service parameters are completely different. So again, there is a problem in my topic. So again, I have to change the word service to a specific sector. And so I decided to choose the sector analysis of coping strategies on the face of occupational hazards in the education sector. So one of the problem of variations in service industry is sorted out. Now tell me, is the topic okay?
Education sector, it's a distant learning or, the classroom learning. It's in India, or which geography are we talking about? So there could be many things.
The geography is not mentioned in this topic till now.
Yes. So there is still again a problem in the topic. Am I right? Yes. Am I right? There's
Yes.
still
Yes,
a problem
ma'am.
in the topic.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So again, I have to change. Not only that, when I speak of the education sector, as one of you have rightly said, there is distance learning, there is classroom learning, there is online learning. Now the latest trend is the online learning. There is primary education, higher secondary education, graduation, post-graduation, professional education. So there are so many levels. Again, there is a geographical problem. So still, the topic is not the right topic. The topic needs to be remodified. So again, I have changed it that analysis of coping strategies on the face of occupational hazards in the education sector, basically on higher educations of West Bengal. So I have
Now
limited.
it's defined.
Now it is in a manageable frame. Am I right? When I say higher educations, I'm speaking about all the universities. I'm speaking about institutes like IIM and all the IITs. Yes. Okay. So that is how we need to decide on our topic. And you saw from the basic idea to the final topic, so many transformations keep happening. And you also have to follow this concept to get the ideal topic for your research, for your PhD. So that's about choosing the topic. Now, there are certain common mistakes we do while selecting the topic. The first mistake is someone has already done a thesis. We are trying to extend on it, or maybe you have done something in your MBA, or maybe say in your post-graduation, you have done a thesis and you are trying to extend it to your PhD, thought that I have already done, so I can just move forward. So that's one of the major mistakes someone will be doing, because that will not make a significant value addition to the respective field of study. So that's one of the problem that we face or we do in case of choosing a topic. The second mistake is choosing an obscure, irrelevant and non-compelling research topic. So again, you have to choose a topic which is relevant, which is compelling, and which is actually creating an interest among the people. So that's very important. The second mistake that we keep doing, we should not be doing this.
Madam,
Yes.
what is a compelling research topic?
Compelling in the sense, non-compelling. When I say non-compelling and compelling, compelling is the right thing, non-compelling is the wrong thing. You need to make people understand, yes, this research has to be done. There's something not there in this type of research. There's something which has not actually been done, something which we have not actually not learned. So you have to actually focus on such topics where people will think, yes, this research had been done. Obviously, there's a reason for doing this research. So this is again very aspect of compelling and non-compelling. Is it clear? Yes, am I clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so let me move forward. Yeah, the third mistake we do is we ask our guide or our supervisors to suggest a topic. Normally what happens, if anyone asks me to suggest a topic, I'll be telling topics which are related to my field of study only. So nothing new will be coming out. And that may not be of an interest to you also. So that is again another aspect. You should choose your own topic in the area of your interest and your specialization. So you have to avoid these three mistakes while choosing the topic. Now you have to schedule your activities. So you have a time frame. Let us say you have decided 3 years or 4 years. You have put your target that you will be completing your PhD. Then you have to divide it into phases. And then you start moving on it. The first one starts with the topic agreed. This may take 3 months for you to decide on the topic which you are agreeing, because you have to do a lot of literature reviews. You have to analyze on the topic. You have to discuss with your supervisors and maybe various people whether this topic is appealing to them or not, whether this topic is really of any interest or not, whether it is going to create any value or not, all these aspects. Second, you have to fine-tune your aims and objectives on the basis of the topic. Then, of course, literature review and findings regarding the literature review, you have to go about. Then you have to find research gap. Then you have to identify the methodology and preparing data collection tools, collecting data, analyzing data, and finally drafting into thesis. You will find the drafting into thesis starts from the first phase to the last phase. Because when you have decided on the topic of, you have agreed, you have to start preparing your introduction and literature contents that you are getting from regarding your topic. So you have to continuously keep drafting along it. So this is how you go about scheduling your activities for completion. Now, my PhD journey, as I said, basically started long back from 2006 when I actually migrated from corporate to the academia. So that was the time when I decided when I have come to academics, then why not attain a highest academic degree? And then I was keeping on searching universities, searching the feasibility problems, again searching for a guide or searching for a topic. I was just going through all these complete phases. Going somewhere, not very satisfied, then again coming back, not able to balance my job as well as my work and all these aspects. So that was the thing. The actual journey started in 2012 when I have actually given my research aptitude test for ICFA University, Jharkhand. That time I actually got admission in 3-4 universities parallelly. So those research aptitude tests of all those universities had to be done, and I was qualified over there. Then based on this concept of guide and based on the concept of support and all these aspects, after analyzing through various universities, I found that ICFA University, I'm getting all those things that I really require to complete my PhD. So my actual journey started in 2012. Now, if you see, the first phase was very, very excited. I have already got my admission in PhD. I'm telling people, you know, I am doing my PhD. I have got my PhD admission. So feeling so great about it. So you have admission to PhD program successful. Coursework has started. We are learning so many things. We are understanding so many concepts. Guide selection was in process, and then guide accepted you and you accepted it. So there will be a two-way approach. Guide should also accept you and you should also accept the guide in the form of your topic, in the form of your concepts, in the form of your learning aspects, everything. Next, searching for the topic was also in the process, and finally selected the topic with the help of a guide, and the registration of the topic gets completed with presenting the synopsis of the topic, which you will also be facing it. You will have to present a synopsis about your topic and then go about it. So that's how you have to move on. Now there is a period, once that phases registration is over, now comes the ignorance period, which is a very dangerous phase. Though it will be smooth and sailing, you are very much relaxed. Okay, my registration is over. I can now do my researches. I can do literature reviews and all this kind of thing. So there is long time, no worries. And this is where the procrastination attitude starts building up among us. Inconsistent reading and writing to choose only what I felt I want. Well, this is my occupational hazard is my topic, so I'll study only things on occupational hazard. But that's what is completely wrong. I'll be studying only on coping strategies. That is what is completely wrong. You cannot just study only those things and feel that you are going to complete. You have to study so many other things. You have to create the background. You have to develop a conceptual framework. Naturally, you have to understand a lot of aspects, a lot of concepts which are dealing with it. So that is, if you don't do that, then this is where you are actually making a greater mistake. And this is what I say, the ignorance phase. The
Dr.
next
Roy,
phase
can I ask a question? Can I ask a question if we go back to the previous slide?
Okay, yes, surely.
From my own experience and from my own perspective, procrastination, I believe, becomes the greatest challenge given the other conflicting priorities we have in our individual lives.
Perfect,
right?
perfect,
right?
perfect,
So,
perfect.
wanted to really understand your experience on what worked for you in dealing with the procrastination issue or the deprioritizing. Rather than calling it procrastination, let me call it deprioritizing. What
Right.
worked for you, so that maybe we can exchange some notes there.
Yes, I love to share this with you. In fact, I can speak hours and hours on this topic because that was one of my learning as well as that was one of my achievements also. At the time of doing my PhD, I was working as a dean in one of the B School Management Institute, which is a Pan-India institute. And since it is as a dean, there were a lot of administrative responsibilities apart from teaching responsibilities. And you know, in a B school, we have a lot of other activities like student handling, student admission, and so many things which becomes very, very important rather than other things. And we get so focused on those, we have to prioritize it because otherwise our jobs will be out. It's quite common. So at that time, I was actually doing my PhD. And I felt at that time that I will not be able to manage and maybe I will not be able to complete my PhD because I have to give so much pressure on my job. Then one day, I just decided after 10 o'clock, nobody is going to call me. Nobody is going to give me any task. No student handling issues after 10 o'clock. No student interactions after 10 o'clock. No YouTube interactions after 10 o'clock. So this 10 to 12, this 2 complete hours can be extended to 1 based on your, let us say, the way you can go about it. So 10 to 1, this 3 hours, nothing and nothing, only PhD. I will be only working on my PhD priorities this 3 hours only. It was after a great effort, I have actually outlined that particular 3 hours where I had focused only on my PhD activity and nothing else. Rest, the whole other time, I'm focusing on my job as well as in the personal. So is it clear?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I think
so. You have to set aside, in short, the mantra is set aside 2 to 3 hours only for your PhD. Because otherwise, we have this complete, we have faced this problem. Okay?
Absolutely agree. Thank you for that. I think the challenge, thanks to COVID, the only positive side of COVID that I see today is that our travel has stopped. Otherwise, we would be spending at least for me, I would be spending 80% of the time in the airports, looking at the airports, looking at the hotels.
Yes.
So thank you for that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So you have to, this is your discipline. This is your complete self-discipline. Okay? That you have to put aside 3 hours where nobody, even your family will not be disturbing you at that time. That 3 hours. So that 3 hours totally dedicated to your PhD. So that's how you have to go about it.
Total me time.
Yes, total me time. Yes. Because now that is your priority. PhD is your priority. All the other times you can focus on many other aspects, like you can meditate, you can do a lot of yogas or something like that, whatever you feel better. Anyway, the next phase comes as the struggling phase. And this is the place when we are moving forward in our PhD, we start feeling that we are lost in a jungle. There's a lot of confusion. There's a lot of uncertainty. We don't know which path to take. We don't know which statistical tool to apply. We don't know whether the data collected is okay or not. I mean, how to go about data collection and all these aspects. Or the data we have collected, how it is, whether it is applicable, whether it is okay or not, and all these aspects keeps coming to our mind. So that's a struggling period. What I'm getting myself into, both internal and external doubts, and sometimes we get exhausted during the qualitative process. So here there is another problem which is facing. The next phase is self-lifting period. This is the place where you are actually lifting yourself up. You replan, that's what I said, you replan, move forward step by step. You have to attend lot of workshops and seminars to hear from other people who are in research, how they are doing research, because that gives you a lot of ideas. Because everything you cannot study. We have some limitations in our. We can't keep on studying and studying. Sometimes we have to keep on hearing. And thanks to our internet and YouTube channels, there are a lot of conferences and proceedings and everything where we can hear people about their research activities, and we can learn a lot from them. Talk to other people who have already achieved their doctoral degree. So this is where you are actually lifting yourself. Now, assuring period. After lifting yourself, you come across to this assuring period. Co-authoring papers, understanding what I did not, balancing between learning new things and maintaining the main study. Like you have, you see the two pictures. One is what most people think and what success people know. So you move forward, you fail, and you lose your interest or you get frustrated. But in successful, if you want to be successful, you should keep on changing your directions, but your goal should be fixed. To achieve that goal, or this way, if I'm going, I should not be working in this way, I should be going in this way, and all this aspect. So that is another thing, the assured period. Finally, you see the light at the end of the tunnel, like analyzing, the writing, continuing to keep learning and writing to final submission. So you see the light for that, and now you start actually writing and trying to submit your thesis. So priorities and obey them. Always plan, set deadline, and take corrective action. Have consistent discussion with supervisor. Talk to others and learn from them. Invest in study, time, effort, that is time, effort, and money you have to invest in the study. You have to read a lot of journals. You have to attend a lot of seminars and conferences. So naturally, all this has time, effort, and money, both three things, which are going to be invested in your own self-study. Be positive, open-minded, and take challenges. Keep feet on the ground. Don't be afraid to make mistakes, because unless you make mistakes, you will not know which is the right one. So do not hesitate to make mistakes or look silly. Ask some silly questions like how do I go about this coping strategy? So what, I mean, it might sound silly to you, but actually that will help you to learn more about your own clearance about the concept. Because if you can't explain things properly, that means you have not understood it properly. So that's one of the aspects. Now, when I say invest in study, I want to add here, while I was doing my thesis, I found this coping strategy in the face of occupational hazard, or people employing this coping strategy, has certain other factors involved. That is, who is employing which coping strategy. So I have found personality trait as one of the important aspects for choosing the coping strategy. And I need to understand the personality traits of my respondents, as a result of which I had taken a course, a small course on Myers-Briggs personality test, which is an online course, and I have gone through that course to learn how to analyze personalities. Now, there are a lot of other ways of analyzing the personality, but I got trained into the Myers-Briggs thing because there are 16 different personalities. They are spoken about types of personalities. And that is the reason you have to spend money, effort, and time on actually which is going to be helpful in your research. Because once you go through that course, you can confidently speak about the personality trait and which personality traits are linking which particular strategies. So my thesis is already available in the public domain. So you can go through, you will find all those aspects. So you can go through those aspects. Another thing that I want to add over here, the methodology. I basically have used a mixed methodology. That is, I had what you say, a sort of qualitative research as well as quantitative research. My initial research was qualitative, and then based on the concepts that I have derived from the qualitative research, I have gone into the quantitative analysis, because in qualitative, convincing others or convincing the panel when you are defending your thesis becomes very, very difficult, because you know people are perceptually different. My concept might be perceived by somebody else in one way and somebody else in the other way, and you cannot debate or argue on that. It's their perception. So you cannot convince people, especially with the qualitative concept. It takes huge time and huge skill for that. So to make my thing more flexible, make my thing more convincing, make my thing more acceptable, I have converted my qualitative thing into a quantitative. So it's actually two parts. So quantitative thing I have done, given my findings based on the quantitative things. So this is how I have gone through the thing. Now there are certain do's and don'ts. That is, be accountable to study, invest in it, add supervisor as a good friend, learn from others, share with others, back up all files and keep record. Hopefully this is very, very important, especially when you people are working in laptop. Anytime laptop might get crashed, then you lose the whole thing of yourself. So continuously start keeping backup, day wise, weekly wise, monthly wise, so that it will be very much helpful to go back to it. Be happy and content, and of course I'm thankful to IUJ that they have don't assume you guys are task, do your task. Do not take offense easily. If someone is saying something, do not get offended and do not start thinking, oh, I'm not going to do it here. This person is treating me like. Try to be very, very patient. Try to understand everything and learn from that offense. Forget the ones who guide and help you. So do not forget the ones who guide and help you. So these are something do's and don'ts. And finally, I want to thank you all for listening. And I want to end my presentation with the inspiring quotes which are helpful. That is, if you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough. That is what Albert Einstein has said. The illiterate of 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, or relearn, said by Alvin Toffler. And someone else said, if you do not invest time to prepare, you will waste time to repair. So with that, I end my presentations and I'm open to any questions. Yes?
Dr.
Yes. Yes?
Roy, you were working and the tips there really helped. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. I hope
I think this session was really required, ma'am, because these were the exact thoughts that were going through our minds, and you cleared a lot of things.
I agree.
Yes, and if you want,
I agree.
yes,
It was very inspiring, and I think it was very relevant for us because we've just started the journey.
Right.
I think that was very, very relevant. Thank you so much.
I have a question.
It provided a lot of clarity as well. So
You said
thanks for that.
from qualitative study method, you had to change to quantitative. So you only used quantitative, or you had a mixed approach?
No, I had a mixed approach. Because when I say hazards, occupational hazards in the education sector, when initially I was bombed down by many of my educators saying that there are no hazards in education sector. That's why people migrate from corporate sector to education sector. I was one of them. But then after coming back, I have realized that there are a lot of hazards and which people undermine. So I wanted to project those hazards so that anyone who is migrating from corporate to the education will be migrating with the knowledge of these hazards and preparing themselves so that they can actually face the hazard. Hazards will be there. but we need to face them. We need to we need to cope with them. Like I normally say to my students that when we are moving from season to one season to other season, like we are approaching the winter season, we start feeling cold, we start catching cold and all this aspect. And what we normally do is we cannot stop the winter season. But what we need to do is we need to take protection to ourselves. We need to use sweaters or we need to take some medicines. Yes.
Madam, please conclude because many are requesting they have to go to
Yes,
office.
I'm already done. I'm already done. And thank you, everybody. Thank you, Infy, for giving
one thing. Sorry, just one point, Dr. Roy. Can we have your numbers so that we can reach out to you in case we need any specific
you can always
guidance?
have my number 98363.
Sorry, 983
98363.
Leave.
Yes, I am ending the meeting, Rupsha ma'am. अच्छा Rupsha ma'am तो already चढ़े गई. All of you, please fill the feedback form. Are you able to hear me? Please fill the
Okay, ma'am.
Submitted.
Okay.
Feedback submitted.
And I'm ending the meeting
We'll do that, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
because I'm also traveling, going to office.